want you to be as honest as you can. Do you remember ever talking to her?
Yes, sir.
You never talked to her?
No. I don't remember seeing her or talking to her.
Her name is
ever.
Diane. You know any Dianes?
No, sir.
So you're saying you've never seen this woman, never been to her house, never been invited to look around?
I don't know what to say, but I haven't stolen anything from anybody.
In the quiet streets of Austin, Texas, a horrifying crime shatters the community's peace. Diane Holik, a successful supervisor at IBM, meets a gruesome fate at the hands of a seemingly ordinary person, a church leader at that, Patrick Anthony Russo. With a disturbing blend of real estate intrigue and a sinister inclination towards dark fantasies, Tony Russo's heinous act unravels into a tale of deceit, obsession, and murder. But what led a respected church leader to commit such a chilling crime? And how did a routine real estate deal turn into a deadly trap? Stay tuned as we expose the shocking twists in this true crime saga. Diane Holik's life was one marked by ambition and achievement. A supervisor for a large multinational corporation, she was what many would consider successful. She was also an engaged woman at the time, a few years away from getting married.
One day she came home and we had a girls' dinner, and she was so excited about the ring on her finger, she just screamed in the air, "I'm engaged!"
At her level on the corporate ladder, she had the privilege of working from home, and she chose to reside in a serene neighborhood in Austin. At 42, Diane was known for her vibrant spirit, intelligence, and the quiet strength that propelled her through life's challenges. Her home at Pathfinder Drive was absolutely mesmerizing. More than a residence, it was a symbol of her independence and success. However, beneath the surface of her seemingly stable life lurked a danger, manifesting in the form of Tony Russo. Russo, a church leader with a dark secret, maintained a respectable facade as a music director and community member. As a musical minister, he was well known in the congregation and was even in charge of training up-and-coming musicians. Little did the church and the town know this man hid a disturbing obsession with erotic asphyxiation and a history of criminal behavior that included burglary and kidnapping. So how did Tony manage to hide his past from those around him? No one can really tell. Patrick Russo's past was a horrifically decorated tale marked by troubling behavior and criminal activities. Long before the murder of Diane that launched him to infamy, he had already spent time in prison for several attacks on women. Despite this violent history, he claimed to have turned a new leaf as a born-again Christian. He was even married to a woman he met while incarcerated and had been released on parole around the time of Holik's murder.
I specifically talked to Dennis about he and Diane's relationship, how they met, how things were going. He offered up that they were both excited about getting married.
He was questioned about his whereabouts on the Thursday that she was killed. He recounted to us that he had talked to her on the phone that morning.
Diane found solace in Austin, but now was planning to sell her home and move on to the next chapter of her life. As she prepared for this transition, a man expressing interest in buying her house appeared. This man was none other than Patrick, who, under the guise of a promising potential buyer, entered Diane's life. Russo, driven by his sinister fantasies, targeted Diane in a very calculated manner. He did so by canvassing the neighborhood, his unsettling presence noted by locals as he inquired about homes for sale. In the weeks leading up to the crime, Russo meticulously stalked Diane. Nobody batted an eye, as this was deemed ordinary behavior for someone truly looking to acquire a property in his desired neighborhood. But in hindsight, his premeditation was evident as he carefully observed Diane's routine, learned her habits, and identified the perfect moments to strike. As Diane continued her daily life, unaware of the danger, Russo was setting the stage for his brutal act. The fateful interaction began as a routine home showing on November 15 of 2001. Diane Holik, ever the gracious hostess, welcomed Patrick Russo into her home despite the raging storm. As they moved through the residence, however, Russo's demeanor shifted ominously, his eyes scrutinizing the layout with a predator's precision. The air thickened with tension as Diane sensed something amiss.
Hi Diane, it's Gloria, just checking in with you. Hi Diane, it's 2 o'clock. Just worried about you, wanted to check to make sure you're okay. Give me a call.
With calculated brutality, Russo launched his attack while they were touring the second floor of the house. Diane's home, once a sanctuary of dreams and independence, became a stage for a terrifying struggle.
As we went through the crime scene and searched the room, we observed that there was some makeup on the rug in the room that Diane was found.
Desperate to defend herself, Diane fought against the bindings that Russo used to overpower her. As the deed was done, Russo fled the scene quietly. Diane's lifeless body, marked by the struggle for her last breath, lay in the tranquility of her bedroom. The discovery of Diane's body was a grim moment. As mentioned, a massive storm deluged Austin, so when no one could get in touch with her, they assumed it was because the lines were down. At 5:30 p.m. of the same day, officers entered her house. The ground floor showed no disturbance, but upstairs they discovered Diane Holik's body lifeless, face down, and with strangulation marks on her neck and indications of being restrained with zip ties. The presumed cause of death was strangulation, but much to the officers' surprise, no sign of sexual assault was found. A jewelry box, a key string, and a necklace were missing. The medical examiner pinpointed her time of death between the afternoon of November 15 and early November 16. Meanwhile, as the authorities were canvassing the neighborhood, they obtained peculiar information from many homeowners who also put their property up for sale. On the day of the murder, several homeowners reported a man expressing interest in purchasing their properties, giving different names and mentioning cash payments. Then tips started pouring in. Police combed through the usual set of useless information, a natural thing to expect whenever sketches are publicly released before the onset of technology and the internet.
Things go wrong in your town or something, it's possible people would look at you. And that's okay. Although I don't know what this is about. And we'll explain that to you when we get there.
However, one phone call stood out, from a woman also selling her home. She said a man who looked similar to the sketch had come by her house earlier that week, with the same excuse as the others mentioned. Luckily, she noted down the license plate number of his vehicle. This pivotal information pointed to none other than Patrick Anthony Russo.
I know I was on the phone with my wife the entire time going all the way home. I have no idea where I was at.
Do you think it's a little coincidental that several people said that they saw you in the neighborhood?
Well, it has to be coincidental because I hadn't been in any neighborhood.
Patrick was then arrested about a week post-murder. He claimed to be at church as a music minister in Bastrop County. Because of the arrest, police had probable cause to search his belongings, including his computer. This revealed extended sessions and dark web searches geared towards asphyxiation-type pornography. In February of 2004, Patrick finally stood trial for Diane Holik's murder. His trial was a pivotal moment in legal history because it was marked by his appeal against the capital murder conviction. However, his previous criminal history, coupled with the evidence gathered from Diane's home and the neighborhood's accounts, constructed a pretty damning narrative. He was found guilty of capital murder and was sentenced to life in prison. Diane's vibrant life was remembered as the community struggled to comprehend the brutality of her end. The case of Diane Holik serves as a stark reminder of the hidden dangers in seemingly safe communities. In the years following Russo's conviction, the case has occasionally resurfaced in public memory. As per prison records, he remains incarcerated at the Thomas Gorey Unit in Huntsville, Texas. Patrick will be eligible for parole in 2044. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment, like the video, and don't forget to subscribe for more chilling tales.